When Lisa sat me down that evening, I knew something was off. The way her fingers twisted together in her lap, the way she kept inhaling as if to speak, but hesitated at the last second, the way her eyes darted to mine, but never quite held my gaze. It all told me that whatever she was about to say, I wasn't going to like it. 11 years of marriage had made me an expert at reading her, and every instinct in me screamed that something was wrong. She finally exhaled slowly, as if bracing herself. "I need to tell you something." I set my glass down carefully on the table, keeping my expression neutral even as my pulse picked up. "Go ahead." Her lips parted, but the words didn't come out right away. Instead, she swallowed, looking away for a moment before forcing herself to meet my eyes. I have feelings for someone else." A cold weight settled in my chest. I had suspected something was off, but hearing it confirmed was different. My grip on the armrest tightened, but I kept my voice even. "So you want a divorce?" Her eyes widened in alarm. No, I don't. I still love you. I love our life together. I can't ignore what I feel for him." The audacity of it hit me like a slow-burning slap. She sat here, telling me she loved me, while confessing she wanted another man, expecting me to— what? Understand? Accept it? She wasn't admitting to a mistake. She wasn't asking for forgiveness. She was asking for permission. I took a deep breath, forcing down the initial wave of anger. "So, what exactly are you saying?" Lisa's shoulders tensed, as if she had prepared for every reaction except calmness. "I don't want to lose what we have. I don't want to break up our family." She hesitated, voice dropping lower. "But I also don't want to ignore this other part of me." She expected me to just let this happen, to be okay with it, to let her have the best of both worlds while I quietly accepted it. The selfishness of it would have been laughable if it wasn't so infuriating. For a long moment, I said nothing. I watched her, taking in every nervous movement, every flicker of emotion across her face. Then an idea formed, cold, calculated, and sharp as a blade. "Fine," I said, my voice calm. Lisa blinked in surprise. "Fine?" "I won't stop you," I continued, studying her reaction. "You can have him, but I want something in return." Her brows furrowed slightly. "What do you mean?" "If you get to be with him while staying married to me," I said slowly, deliberately, "then I get the same deal. No questions asked, no complaints." Lisa stared at me as if I had just spoken a foreign language. It was clear she hadn't considered this possibility. Maybe she had assumed I'd cry, beg, or fight. Maybe she thought I'd try to win her back, to prove that I was the better choice. But what she hadn't expected was for me to play by the same rules. "That's not what I expected," she admitted finally. "You expected me to just sit here and accept it quietly?" I asked, raising an eyebrow. This is my counter-offer." Lisa bit her lip, her mind visibly racing. She had walked into this conversation thinking she had all the control, that she could dictate the terms, and I would simply have to live with them. Now, she realized she wasn't the only one capable of making demands. "Do we have a deal?" I pressed. After a long pause, she nodded slowly. "Yes, we do." For the first few weeks, she thrived. She came home later than usual, smiling more often, humming under her breath like she had a secret no one else knew. She spent more time on her phone, texting someone she thought I didn't notice. She was careful at first, but as days passed, she became more confident, more comfortable in her new arrangement. It was almost like she believed she had figured out the perfect way to balance everything: her marriage, her new relationship, her carefully crafted life. Then, I started playing by the same rules. I stayed out late. I started dressing better, making sure I looked my best every time I left the house. I made sure I always smelled like another woman's perfume when I came home. When my phone buzzed, I didn't hide it. In fact, I let it sit out in the open, screen lighting up with names she didn't recognize. I made a point of smirking at my messages, of checking my phone at the dinner table, of acting just distant enough for her to notice. Lisa hated it. At first, she tried to act like it didn't bother her. She reminded herself that this was the deal she made, that she had no right to be upset. But then, the questions started. The casual, probing remarks. The late-night comments about how much time I was spending away from home. The way she started trying to pull me back into her orbit, subtly at first, then more aggressively when she realized I wasn't reacting the way she wanted. "You're seeing someone, aren't you?" She finally snapped one evening, her voice sharp with something dangerously close to jealousy. I took my time responding, letting the silence stretch between us as I set my drink down and met her gaze. "You never asked before," I said calmly. "Why now?" Her fists clenched, her jaw tightening. "Because this isn't what I wanted." I leaned forward slightly, keeping my voice steady. Neither was this. Regret flashed across her face, raw and unfiltered. She had walked into this thinking she could have it all, thinking she could be the only one making the rules. But now the reality of it was sinking in. She had opened the door, expecting to walk through it alone, but she never considered what would happen if I followed. And now she wanted to close it, but it was too late. She made the deal, and now she had to live with it.